Okay. Hey, what's up, Drew? Let's see if I remember how to do this. Let me know how the audio is as far as the background music and my voice volume. It looks okay on the audio mixer, but you never know. Good. I figured I would start streaming. I've had a couple requests to stream it again, and I feel like if I do continue to stream, it would probably keep motivation going on the MK Plus project. So here we are. And I had a couple requests here. I think one of them was, as far as MK Plus goes, figure out why the head sprites are so messed up on Sub-Zero's fatality. And I feel like I've looked into that many moons ago, and I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm hoping it's just a DMA attribute, but we'll find out. I think I'll dive into that. Just dip my toes back into this project by hunting down some sprites and see if we can't figure out why those head sprites are so jacked up. Let's see what OBS is telling me. We've got a warning here, the stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. Okay, I can probably change that here on the fly. Current bit rate is I think 2500. Man, that is pretty low. Recommended bit rate is 13,500. So I can't change it real fast. All right, so I don't know if that's going to help. Let me know if there's any stream problems as far as the bit rate goes, if it's smooth. It looks like it did reset the stream, so let me know how the quality is. It should be 2560 by 1440. Okay, good. So that's working on that end. I'm going to position this this window on the right edge of my screen. In the stream preview, it's showing that it cuts off that right side of that window. It shows no upper right buttons and minimize, maximize, close buttons. Let me know if you see those or if they actually are cut off. Assuming everything looks okay, comment is answering that question. I think we're good to go. All right, so let's see. We have our trusty TMS assembler here. Good old tool by Despres. Couldn't have these projects without his hard work. Thanks to you and all your hard work there, Despres, for the TMS assembler. Now let me see what you got here. Yeah, so the preview is right. So let me see. It does cut off about, let's see. Cuts off about maybe 200 pixels or so. I don't know why that's doing it. It's the first time I used OBS and God, I don't know how long. As you can see here, with this to the edge, it indeed is cut off there. Ah, okay, I see what it is, okay. I think this is the right way to fix this. Scaling was off, which is kind of confusing because down here it tells you 39% scale to window, but I think that's just for the preview. But I think we're good to go. All right, assuming we're good, we'll jump right in here. All right, so we're gonna dive back into this MK Plus project here. It's been maybe 2 years at least in and out of it. Just I've been doing some things behind the scenes, but really not a whole lot of motivation with it. I've got interested in more things in life, but I put a lot of work into it, so it deserves to be finished here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump back in and figure out why the spine rip faces are foobarred. That's gonna be our first small task here. Kind of get our feet wet. Find out where we left off with MK Plus previously. I feel like there are tons of features or add-ons that are incomplete. So we got to get a firm grasp on what those are so we can finish those up. And then once we really get going and get the wheels rolling, we're gonna jump into the chop game mode, which is a game mode I kind of came up with where it's just 1 player versus 2 player, and you just race to whoever can chop all the elements or materials fastest. And that's pretty much all it's going to be. I don't know what else to add to that, but it seems like people, they're interested in it. So, and I got it kind of fleshed out for the most part, so it shouldn't be too much more to go with it. It runs and chops through a couple elements as it is now, but it does crash. It's probably have to do with a bunch of just some garbage collection needed to keep it from crashing. So we'll get to that part as well. If there are any other things that you guys would like to see on the stream, just throw them in the chat, and I'll put them on this list here and see if we can't get that on the stream as well. What's up, Axel? How you been? All right, so let's see here. Let me go with that. Let me give an overview of what my workflow is here on here. So let's go through what I have open here. All right, from left to right here in TMS assembler, we have the actual game, just the actual game code. As you can see, it is it is over 9,000 or 19,000, excuse me, 19,000 lines long. So that's the game code. This is what gets patched to the binary. And then the next tab here we have, this is my symbols collection here. In conjunction with MAME debugger, I use this stuff to identify addresses in the binary. So when they come across in debugger, it has the actual symbol name, and it helps me identify what I'm looking at. And these are also referenced in the game code that I write here. So I can reference those symbols in my script, and it will pull the actual addresses from it. Like, for instance, here's one symbol here, and that's pretty helpful for writing these scripts as well. So that's the second tab. The third one just seems like just debug notes, things to fix. Fourth tab here, it looks like a collection of updates that I've done on the second revision after coming back to it for the second time. So we have a small list of things there that were changed and added and updated. The fifth tab here, we have an overall change log to the project itself. This covers additions, factory fixes and tweaks, and it gets pretty detailed. I mean, I try to log everything I can. Anything from changing the font color on the fatality sign from green to red, to added options, like we have larger portraits for the updated letter option, random fight lineups, which we will have to visit because there is some kind of mix up with the fight lineup with what you're seeing and what you're getting. I feel like it has to do with the randomizer I added, since there's an option to randomize your opponents, and you're not stuck with the same static lineups every time you play the game. So we'll get into that as well. And moving to the next tab, we have release notes. I got to keep track of what's been added or changed between releases. This stuff I try to keep it just to the contributor builds. That way, when I get feedback on testing, if there's a problem, I can try to isolate where it might have originated from, so I know where to look to fix the problem. And the last thing is just the stream. You know, what do we want to do? What do you guys want to see? All right, so let's get things started here. We don't need. Okay, so one thing I have been doing with this, I've been changing Abyssos's TMS assembler with some additions and stuff that help me script and deploy and test a lot faster. I've added some stuff up here. I've integrated some MAME launching. Update the binary with this button, so it updates the binary and it launches MAME automatically. So that helps me test things. So we're gonna go in and let's click this and get MAME started here. See where we're at. One thing you'll notice, this thing has 2,536 symbols loaded. And I've noticed it's starting to take a toll on how MAME performs. It's a bit sluggish, the gameplay and the input. So many symbols. There may be a way to fix that. Go. Controller input is good. So let's see what we got here. So first thing we're going to do, like I said, we're going to find out why the spine rip faces are all jacked up, and to help with that, we're going to use our favorite hex editor here, 010, 010, however you want to say it, from Sweetscape. It was initially the tool for me before the TMS assembler came along, and I actually used it quite a bit up until I started making additions to this TMS assembler. Before I used to copy and then paste code in here, which, I mean, when you have like 19,000 lines of code and about 1,700 lines of hooks that you have to update, you kind of have to write something to automatically update the hooks and the data at that point, or else you're going to spend an hour updating hooks. One wrong typo, man, it could leave you pulling your hair out. But this is kind of like a singular project, a singular script project. I've done MK2+ in a different manner. I've done MK2+ with multiple scripts, which works. But I feel like it's kind of what's the term I'm looking for? It's I can't think of the word I want to use, but it's tough to keep track of everything when you have all those scripts, because a lot of times you'll have scripts, you'll start to work on something and you haven't yet implemented it into the game, and then you'll move to something else, and then next thing you know, you're looking at that script in a folder, and you're like, man, did I put that in there? You know, you kind of get confused about what's in and what's not in. But when you use a singular script like this, it eliminates that problem. But when you do a large script like this, you have to make sure that you have a large chunk of empty space on the ROM. And how I was able to do that with MK, the original MK, was I'd say the first, I'll show you, let me go down here. You can see with the blank data starts again. So anything before this chunk of data, all these Fs are just unwritten data. It's free space. Anything above that, this is all the MK plus data right here. And this is like this because what they had originally is they had the fighter BIOS images all crammed on the program ROMs. So I took those and I shoved them onto the graphic ROMs because there was plenty of space in the graphic ROMs, and that left me so much space for some more coding. You see, it's just, there's so much I can. Let's see how far we got down here. We've got, yeah, so there's probably 2/3 of it that was free after doing that. You know, that's the way they did it. They probably didn't, you know, their first time making the game, so whatever works, if it works, go with it, and that's what happened. And I feel like maybe that's why there's a lot of leftover data from the MK1 game when it comes to MK2 ROMs. There's a lot of leftover data there. Version of 010, I think I just updated not too long ago. It's 13.02, Drew. That's what we're using. Trying to get a look of my stream here on my tablet just to see how things are looking. Thanks, Pond Water, I'm sorry. It's good to be back, man. Yeah, stream looks real good. Looks good, looks good. Okay, all right. So let's see. So we're going to use the 010 editor here. We're going to use this to find the sprites for the spine rips, the heads, and try to figure out why they're all jacked up. That was a request by, let me go to the Discord here. Josiah 1221. Josiah 1221 says something that always bugged him about the original arcade version of MK are the ninjas' heads when you do Sub-Zero's fatality. They look all messed up. He says they fixed them in the DOS port so they're actually recognizable. Would be awesome if this could be fixed in MK Plus. No idea what it would take to do so, but both Sub-Zero and Scorpion's face forward during their win poses. So maybe it would be possible to use those graphics in place of the messed up ones. So let's do this, because I'm not, like, I'm sure I looked into this a while back. It's so long ago I don't remember. But let's actually do the fatality and just make sure I didn't already fix it, because we turn on the Sans Power cheat here in the debug option so we can get straight to the point for a fatality. And yes. Oh, here's a game mode that I ported over from MK2. You have classic Pong here. Sound is, let me fix the sound on it because I think I have the sound turned off in my volume mixer. There's only so much you can, so long you can listen to the same sounds before you have to turn it down. There it is. Yeah, this is a quick test play. I'm gonna turn it down. Okay. You'll notice the audio skipping. That's because, like I said, we have 2,500 symbols, and MAME is doing its best to cycle through those symbols in the debugger. I'm sure if I didn't have this in debug mode, it probably wouldn't suffer from those small hiccups. Okay.
Sub-Zero Scorpion. Fight.
They are indeed still jacked up.
Sub-Zero with fatality.
Okay. So as you can see, we have the life bars disappearing. I thought that was a nice addition to fatalities. Fatalities in red instead of green. So all right, so let's go back and see if we can't figure out why those sprites. Well, first we gotta locate the sprites in the hex editor here, and then we're gonna find out. 1502 update. Okay. So we'll go through and see if we can find the sprites, and then I'm hoping it's a simple like DMA attribute that got fat fingered. And we can fix it easily. So let's see. We're gonna breakpoint on a function here, a routine, a method, however you want to call it. It's going to be object creation. Let's see if we can find out where those are stashed at, because it's going to make that object when it creates a spine in the head. So object creates, it's going to be probably object create A14 out of a structure, or object create A14 structure and register A4. So let's go ahead and get us a save state set up when he's ripping the head and see if we can't get a break on one of those two functions there. Did a terrible job of getting that save state. Alright, so we'll do save state 0. Actually, let me try that backwards. State save 0. And put a couple breakpoints here. See if these break here when he's ripping the head off. Okay. So breakpoint 2. Object create A14. It's 700. Okay. Structure in A14. 2. This seems a little backwards. My description here. We're breaking at FCC 8 A700. 730. Has register A4 that comes into play, and it looks like it's actually coming into play on the A700 address. But nonetheless, we'll go through this, and A14 is our structure, so we get FDD A3A50, and we have a little script here. Yeah, we got scripts for scripts. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go to game address, and that is FDA3A50. And how this works is that's a pointer to a pointer. So that's pointing to FCC 8 64DO. That's going to be the structure of the object that's going to have the sprite. So, and I can't remember exactly what the extra bytes are, but I think the bytes after it tell us some information as well. So we'll see. We'll just step through this. First, let's go ahead and split this window, and we'll keep that structure there, and then we'll also, or that pointer there, then we'll also go to that structure, FC864DO. And It's a blank structure. This is a typical MK midway sprite header, where first 2 bytes are width, second 2 bytes are the height, next 2 bytes are the width offset or the horizontal offset, next 2 bytes are the vertical offset. The next 4 bytes are the graphic address, and then depending if it's going to include a palette or not, it could be just the DMA attribute afterwards, or it could have a palette, which it does not. It says 0. So it's creating a blank structure. I don't know why they did this in MK1. They didn't do it in the follow-up games. They never did it like this. Let's just create a blank structure, and then it's using that structure or that object, and then updating the sprite. So we'll go back to the debugger here. Actually, let me close Discord because my hotkeys and Discord are the same as stepping in the debugger, and it's kind of muting me in Discord. So get out of that. Okay, so create object. Runtime is not equal. Let's quit Discord. There we go. So we can probably step out of that. We're back in the main thread here. This is where it created the object. And then it looks like here we're going to have a slide left by 5, which is a good indicator that it's going to be an array of 1, 2, 3, 4 byte structures. And here is going to be probably the table that holds the heads, I'm assuming, for each character. So we'll go and we'll go to the FF81 address, FF81 9530. If you look over here, we have a table of pointers here. And if we count this out, we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of that same address range of FFE9. Let's go back to debugger. Looks like A0, that register is going to carry the fighter ID 4, which 4 is Scorpion. It's going to slide that. It's going to add that pointer in there, which is FFE9 9B80. Let's go ahead and go to that and check that out. Did I punch that in right? That doesn't look right. Palette cage primary. I must have typed it in wrong. Let me try that again. BB80. I put 9B80. There we go. So it just points to a palette, which I should have known that because it's calling the create palette index function there. So it's Scorpion's palette. It's going to create the palette for that object, and that object is obviously going to be his head. So we're going to grab palette index, or actually shove that palette index into the structure of Scorpion. I'm sorry, of the structure of the head that it's going to create. And here is probably what we're looking for, the FF81 9390. So let's go to that address and see what table that is. That is probably our pointers to our heads for the characters. If you count this one out now, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0 through 6 are the indexes, and that aligns perfectly with the Southern Fighters. Those are probably our heads. So it should spit back 0, 1, 2, 3. FFD5E790 is probably the address of Scorpion's head. So if we go through this debugger, FFD5E790, it is indeed. It shoved it into register 1. And then it's going to move that to register A11. It's going to add 20 onto that, and it's going to grab the value at A1. So let's follow that FFD5 to that structure of Scorpion's head. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to call them segments. This is something MK1 did a lot more than MK2 and MK3. MK3, the sprites got smaller, so it was even easier. But MK1 created up to 8 segments, 8 segmented sprites combined into one large sprite, which would create your whole fighter frame, excuse me. Let's go ahead and FF81. So what we're going to do here is we're going to update our symbols here because that's going to be an address we're probably going to want to keep in mind. So we'll go shove that in, let's say, the array. Thought I had one specifically for fighter attributes in settings. Guess not. No, I don't, because there's fighter stand speed. So, all right, so we'll just shove that in there. We should call this spine heads, I guess. It's pretty self-explanatory, I would think. All right. FF81 9390. All right, so we got that saved in there, just in case we lose it. Because we're gonna go down this rabbit hole a little bit further, we gotta follow these segments. We're gonna make sure they are what we think they are and not let them off the hook. Kudos to you if you got that, if you understood that reference. So let's see, we can right click these and follow these as well with the script. But unfortunately, it'll lose the rest of those in that view, and I'd have to find it again. So we're just going to go in here and manually add these. All right, so let's see where we're at. We are, okay, so here's our structure here. You can see there's our width, our height, horizontal offset, vertical offset, our graphic location. And that's the complete structure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 bytes. There are no DMA attributes associated here, so that explains why. Get the debugger back up here. when it created the object, it created it with the E002 attribute right off the rip. So they knew what they were going to be, or how they were going to draw it. The question is it drawn right? Probably so, because if I'm not mistaken, let me know if you know the answer to this, but I think is it just the ninja heads that are messed up in this fatality, or is it all the heads? Let me know if you know the answer to that, because that'll help me set up how I'm going to approach this. I think it's just the ninjas though. Yeah, Curb, I believe so. Drew was telling me. What's up, Says? Still wait for Killer Instincts, us. I think I'm gonna put some Unicos, some 26-inch Unicos in the MK cabs as well. I put one in the Blitz 2000 cabinet, and I love it. It looks great, and there's so many problems with. I know there's purists that like the CRTs, and I like the CRTs too, but I just don't play them enough, I guess. It seems like every time I don't play them and I turn them back on after an extended period of time, there's always something with the CRT that needs attended to. And the Blitz was good. It started developing jail bars, and it looked like convergence issues. And I went through and I tried the cap kit just to get rid of the jail bars. And I was going to do the convergence a little bit later, but the cap kit never fixed the jail bars. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? Let me try the Unico. It's a little expensive, but I got the first generation of the Unico too, so I had to use the adapter board to get the alignment just right on the midway games. But here now that the second generation Unicos come with an updated board, and they're a lot better. You don't have to have the adapter board alongside with it to align it. All right. Cess, if you want to come down, or next time you come through, if you want my old monitors, you can have them. I've got. You'd be doing me a favor, honestly, with the ones I got in the garage. I've got maybe 3 in the garage, and possibly 3 more with the MK games if they all get Unicos, which they probably will. So does anybody know the answer to the question? Does this fatality rip? Are these sprites messed up for all of the heads, or just the ninjas? Go through and we can actually try that real fast. We can quickly debug this. And we can do AO equals whatever character we want. I just can't remember the character IDs off the top of my head, so we can go Johnny Cage's 0. This would be Cage's head, I would think. Okay, so Cage's looks fine. And we can do one more, just, I think, was it Sonia's also that was was jacked up? No, she just looks like Chuck Norris. I remember now. Cage looked fine. Sonya looks like, I don't know, Chuck Norris. You try a couple more just to be sure. Just put a breakpoint there. And we got here, let's do Raiden. Raiden looks good, okay. We can do, let's do Liu Kang. Looks okay. Yeah, we'll do Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
I feel like, I mean, we're going down a rabbit hole here. I feel like when I'm doing stuff like this, like if I'm gonna fix that, I'm gonna fix other things that are associated with it. Like, for instance, I feel like the head should be more in line with his fist, as if he's holding it by, you know, the upper rear of the head, rather than, you know, the head being under his wrist. But first things first, let's figure out why. All right, Drew, we'll catch you later. The Scorpion Sub-Zero. And I guess that's it. That's the only that's the only two that are messed up. All right, so back to the let's go back to the hex editor here and let's take a look at this. All right, so that's the value of FFD5E790. This is this highlighted structure here in blue. So the first one, gotta figure out what segments are which in this structure so we know we're looking at the right data. We're gonna pull up another window here in the debugger, and this is going to be the ROM data. We're just gonna do some temporary modifications of the ROM data here. And so what's the ABCFO? That's approximately where we're at. And you see that matches what we got here. We're gonna dupe some of these addresses and see what does not get drawn or what gets drawn twice, and we'll know what's what, because we're really just after the head portion, not the spine. And not the, actually I don't think it's drawn the spine here. I think one of these segments is going to be the head, and I want to say the other segments are going to be the body. We'll see what this looks like here when I play it. And there you have it. Looks like his head's here. frame by frame here. Okay, so interesting is you can see this should be the segments we see right here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments, which is going to make up his head and the rest of his body. And the interesting thing was when we substituted this value for the one next to it, the head was still there, it was just in a different location. Okay, so are those? I figure out why they're doing it like that. All right, so let's see. The FFF72240 is this structure here, and then this is probably the 2300. This is the next one. So these are all grouped together. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these are grouped together. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Something else I would love to fix also is where this blood is spewing out from. I think it should probably follow the corpse on the way down. Substituted that value and the head stays in the same spot, but it didn't change the head or the other sprites as I expected. So let's go back because I may be mixed up with what I'm looking at. Maybe mistaken. Close to it, but not exactly there. Let's see what we got going here. That's our palette call here for the head. It's what I believe to be the head. Decapitation on Scorpion. The blood effect. Yeah, that's got to be it. Make some sense of this structure and why it's like this, because I was under the assumption that once we change these values here for these pointers, it would have omitted or duplicated the segments of sprites. All right, so let's go play with that first segment here and see E44. See what that does for us. 4, 8. All right, so we have our width, height. So we can probably just manipulate these and okay, so first segment is the head, but it's that frame of the head. I never realized that it changed. Doesn't look like it changed, but that's odd. Let's go back in here. We can change. We can just make this real small. That way, it's out of the way. Yeah. So why make the same sprite with separate sprite headers? The only reason to do that is if they were changing the location of the sprite based on the offset. Like you see the offset here. Okay, first let's look at the size. So this is segment 1, 10 by 1E. Go to segment 2, it's 10 by 1E. Segment 3, 10 by 1E. So it's the same. This is the same, and you can probably also say that, let's see, the graphics is, the location is 44B, 314A, 44B, 314A, 44B, 314A. So it's, what they've done here is they're merely moving the location of that sprite with new sprite headers, and that's like a total waste of, that's not very optimized at all. Could have used just one sprite header, like so, and then just change the location of it, because it's already its own object. In fact, this is 1, 2, 3. This is about 6 or 7 objects put into one, but they could have done that in a better way instead of just making 6 or 7 sprite headers and just changing the offset. You can see here the offset here is FFDF and E, and then it changes to FFDC, FFED. So basically the offset, if it's a negative value, it's going to move it, if it's the horizontal offset, it's going to move it to the left. And it's positive, it's going to move the object to the right. Same thing works for the vertical offset too. If it's positive, it's going to move it down. If it's negative, it's going to move it up, because the way that the game works is the top is 0, the bottom of the screen is, I think is, if I remember right, like 254, and the left and the right are about the same, a little bit longer. But so yeah, they're changing the location up there, so we do have the right things. What we're gonna have to do is figure out now why it's drawn like that, and the easiest thing to do is if we find out that we can fix it just by a few hex edits, we'll have to just adjust those edits on all segments. So let's see. So it doesn't have a draw attribute. Draw attribute is a big factor in how it draws. And since they all use the same array and not all of them have the messed up looking heads, I gotta assume that the draw attribute's probably fine, unless there was some last minute like graphic changes and they overwrote these particular ninja heads for some reason, and the draw attribute isn't the same as the original ones. And the draw attribute is just how the DMA handles how it's drawn to the screen. They are it's down to a bit level. And a fun fact is the original MK1 on Y unit, when they used the TMS 34010 processor, they stuck with byte addressing. They could have used bit addressing, which they later did in MK2, and they were able to squeeze a lot more graphics into it on the graphic ROMs because they're able to do pixel compression for the transparent pixels. And that was a lot of fun to learn. I had to learn that when I was ripping sprites and stuff for another project. But so unless they changed and updated those heads for those two particular ninjas later on, the DMA is probably okay, the draw attribute. And what we can do, I can give you an example of it. We can go through and toy with that and see what it does to the actual sprite of the head sprite. So here we are. We're at a breakpoint here. We're just going to create an object, and this here, this first line is they're moving the value E002 into A4, and A4 is going to hold the draw attribute of E002. So I'm trying not to go too deep with that because actually here, why not? Let's go ahead and pop up a project here and see if I can't give an example. I've got this in here somewhere, jotted down the bit attributes and their meanings and stuff. Let's see here, unzip sprites. Raw image, okay. Build pixels. I want to see. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So, let me give you a nice side by side here. Give you an understanding of. So, the draw attribute is 2 bytes. We got E002. And what you need to do is when you look at this, let's say we pull up a calculator here, we go here, E002, and we're looking at this at a bit level. And so you go down here to binary, and these bits determine which flags over here in the draw attributes are going to be used when the DMA sees it, how to draw it. So we go from right to left, which would be, these are almost never used, pixel constant substitution. So this will always be 0 on these MK sprites. And to move up, you can see bit 15 is triggered, and then 14 and 13 as well. And 13, I'm sorry, yeah, 12, 13, and 14 determine our bit depth, as you can see here. So that's 110. So that gives us 6 bits per pixel. So that explains how that is. And then the next byte is compression. So there's no compression. And that's about it out of E002. That's a pretty easy draw attribute word there. So unless they changed those heads later in the game, and when they exported those graphics, they didn't have the same draw attribute as they intended as the other ones, the E002. I don't see that being an issue. And also the fact that the head, you can actually make out that it's a head and there's not really any weird shape going on. Like if we go through and like if we, let's see, how do I want to manipulate this so I can give you a good example of what a bad DMA would look like. We can change the pixel depth, but that's not going to be a good example because they're all going to be 6 bits. So if we just do like the size of the sprite, for example, that would be you'd see it would look like this, where it's all garbled up. It wouldn't have a recognizable shape. I guess that's the best way to explain it. The shape of it would not be recognizable, but given the fact that it is pretty recognizable, and there's an actual round head, I'm going to say that's probably not an issue. And we can also, let's take this, let's see, I got an idea. Let's go back, and another way we can approach this is we can go and get the object it creates, find the structure in RAM, and we can probably manipulate that and see if we can't yield any different results. Another thing that could have been a problem, which I don't think is the actual graphic location. If the graphic location was off, I don't think it would be a recognizable shape as a head as well. All right, so let's see. This is going to be sure. 72240. Seeing there, it's calling our A4 register. It's drawing, it's taking the EO offset of the structure. So right now in that structure, let me pull up this memory window here so you can see it. The structure for that newly created head is an A8. And at offset E0 here, it's going to pull off the draw attribute, which is what we saw earlier, the E002. And it looks like it's going to check and see if it's located on the program ROMs, because that's the game address at the beginning of the program ROMs. Let's see, 188.3 C8 or DO. What's the 180 offset? 180 offset. So long here. Let me pull up a cheat sheet here for these offsets that I've kept track of. See what it's comparing. It's comparing that A5, A3, A1. Okay, it's comparing the 40. It's looking for a specific segment address, it looks like. And 180 holds the offset to probably its current sprite header location. So it may be just checking to see if it's the same one. But let me pull up my cheat sheet here of offsets here. We can't get that 180 offset just to be. sprite pointer. So yeah, 180 is the sprite pointer. So it looks like it's checking to see if it's the same. Not the same. 485. Gonna do some ORing here on some of these values. ORing, I should say. Swapping. This is basically just swapping values from register. That's 20. Get our sprite offsets. All right, so we got our structure location here in RAM. You can see here, here's our draw attribute. So we could possibly just go through and manipulate that if you really wanted to check into that draw attribute value to see if it is indeed a bad draw attribute for the ninja heads. I don't think it is though. I really don't. Okay. B. You know, the interesting thing is, I just realized something here. Let's go look at the other fighters' heads, because this game, like I said, on Y Unit was the original board that this game was made on, and they didn't do bit addressing. And I don't think they changed that in the T Unit version of the game. They still used byte addressing. So the fact that the address is an uneven value here. You see how it ends? It ends in A. 44B, 314A. Now, in even a byte address, if they're using byte addressing like they were doing in MK1 for most of the graphics, I think all the graphics, if I'm not mistaken, but we're going to research that in a second, is that should end in a 0 or an 8. So let's see, 44B, 314A. And these are the graphic ROMs here. This is the graphic. And I thought I had a script here that would jump to an address. Let me try to manually do this if it's been a minute since I've 44B, 14A, 8. I got a script in here for MK2 graphics. Okay, graphic address converter. I got a go-to one I made to go to. Let's go to graphic ROM address. Okay, yeah, so that's put that in the old Let's see, where's it at? Context. We have to go in scripts and add it in here. MK1 exclusive here. Let's see what we got. Okay, that's what it was. I was confused on how to add a script. It's been a while. Programs, scripts. And I think we go with this one. Go to TMS, go to game. Okay, that's good. All right, so we should have, if we look in our scripts now, we should have midway go to graphical objects MK1 test. So we'll go back here to options and go back here to menus, and we should be able to add this. Right there. So let's see if that works for us. Put MK1 graphic address. So if we put in, what was that, FF? 44B, oh crud, we gotta go back over here. 44B 314A. So the problem here is, like I said, it's not an even address, so it ends in A. So this here is only, it's byte addressing. So this is not technically the right spot where it's going to start. And MK1, they didn't use pixel compression like MK2 and 3 and so on. So when you see these zeros in these graphic ROMs, these are pretty much transparent pixels. So I want to go through and let's go manipulate this graphic address. Let's offset this address because that's obviously not right. We'll see what that yields us. Probably nothing, but it's worth a shot. Hey, what's up, Post? Let me catch up here on the. I've honestly haven't seen chat here. Let me catch up here. We've got. What about Reptile Curb? What about Reptile? Reptile's in there. Oh, you're talking about his head? Yeah. Well, I'm going to assume that Reptile's head is going to be the same. It's going to look all jacked up like Scorpions and Sub-Zeros. So yeah. Wicked Arcade, what's up, man? All is well. Thank you. It's just life is busy. You know how that is. Yep, more progress. What's up, Michael? It's how long has it been since I worked on MK Plus? Well, it's been years since I actually streamed anything. Behind the scenes, probably in and out. Once in a great while, I'd work on it. do some things behind the scenes. Inferno, Discord link isn't working for Mortal Kombat Plus. Which link are you talking about specifically? The one in the YouTube bio does work. If there's another one, let me know, because I noticed the domain redirection is real picky. Because I still have the MortalKombatPlus.com domain. It forwards to my other domain. Oh, for the Discord from the YouTube profile, I'm assuming. If so, I'll fix that real fast. It's, to the Discord channel. Seems to be working when I clicked it. If that's the one you're talking about. The bottom link. The bottom link. Are you speaking of the overlay on the stream? If so, I'll have to go to something in YouTube. I'll check that out after the stream and fix it if that's it. So before I forget, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but we're gonna put fix bottom link, and we'll address that after the stream's over. For now, let's get back to these heads. I wonder if it's just bad art. Do you think possibly the art from John Tobias was a problem? I like to hear John Tobias's opinion on this. What happened? What happened, John? You just didn't think anybody would see that? Probably not his fault, probably some other guy's fault. Anyways, my idea here was to let's go with an even offset here. So if that's pointing us to A, it's going to be this address here. But let's go. Let's restart that. Let's go here, and we'll disable the object creation breakpoints. And all we're going to do is make that an even offset here. We're going to see what the graphic looks like now. That first frame is going to be what's affected. Oh yeah, look at that. That's way jacked up now. So that was 8. We'll do 0 there. That one's even worse. Not much better, if any. All right, so that's 3150. And man, I'm surprised that looks as close to the original as it does. That blood wasn't in the. Oh, go back to that here. Curious here if we can get a shot of that without the blood in the way. Okay, so let's get a little snippet of that. See if we can't. Just a little comparison here. that's what the address of 44B 3150. Nope, I missed it. Let's try again. There we go. And we'll go back through, we'll capture the same area, capture last region. We'll open that one and we'll do a comparison here. So, wow, they're about the same, aren't they? These two heads here. The difference there is that A is difference there is 6 bits from 44B 314A to 44B 3150. Yet the image looks the same, which is odd. Like I don't know why. Go 31 48. This is gonna be 3150. I mean, I guess there's zeros in there, but still the starting point of the image should offset the data, and this should not even be anywhere close to that. Huh, that's weird. I don't know about that. Oh, you know why? Silly me. I was editing the wrong segment, if I can say that right. Editing the wrong segment. I was down here. I should have been up here. Such a rookie. Such a rookie. All right, so now if we put in 3150 here, you're gonna see the same thing. Hold up, let's go back. 450, so frame by frame here, because something. See, I know I looked into this previously, and I'm starting to think that I never figured out what the problem was with that. Got so deep that it was basically easier just to recreate the sprite and just add them onto the graphics side, the new graphics, you know, with the rest of the new stuff. Actually, let me see. be silly if I already did that and I had them in here and I forgot. Okay, I didn't. I really don't understand how I'm changing these sprite addresses so drastically by a byte or half a byte, and they're sometimes still coming out normal. Like look at that. That was 44B 3138, and the original address is 44B 314A. So that's 18 bits of difference there, and it seems to not made any difference to the sprite. It still looks exactly the same. That's odd. Okay. So how much time are we supposed to spend on this? Should we just go ahead and just make our own new sprites? I mean, it seems at this point it's probably going to be the solution. Makes the most sense. It's fast. I've already got ways to convert it from any kind of PNG or bitmap to compressed or uncompressed graphics. What's interesting, or what's like all these here are these are all new sprites I've added. Reptile nameplate, and you can see if you look at the data here when I originally started doing this modification for the MK, this is Reptile's nameplate. All this data here, you can see the odd bytes and how round they are. Like you got 20, 82, and this is uncompressed pixel data. And if you come down and you start seeing the newer stuff that I started adding into the game, like for instance, Shang Tsung's treasures. You know, I've added some stuff in there. You can see this is like a whole bunch of just random bits here, and they're just really not a pattern, no even round index numbers. That's because those are compressed. So save space, and they could have used it, but they didn't, probably because it was their first game that they used its code on, and they just didn't use the capabilities of TMS. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like. All right, let's see, let's get rid of that. All right, what did we find? We found the array to this segment, the array for the heads of the characters, and the pointer of each character goes to another array of segments, which is not the culmination of all segments equal one character, one fighter sprite in one frame. This is more of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments make up the 6 frames of the head, and they merely they're all 6 segments are the same sprite header except for the offset. So they're basically just going through location changing using the offsets in the sprite header, changing the offsets. That's all that is. And found that it's probably not a draw issue and probably not a graphic starting problem, a pointer problem, because it seems like no matter which way we offset that, it doesn't seem to change. So at this point, I feel like it's just going to be easier to make our own sprites. So if anybody wants to contribute to MK Plus and they want to make a ninja head that fixes that, send it to me. I'll put it in the game. What you'll have to do is possibly be fluent in bitmapped or index colored images, and that way you can apply the colors with the right indexes from the palette. If not, I can do that part. Big deal. Takes a little bit of time, but best thing to do would probably be is to fire up GIMP here. And I have some scripts for GIMP that will import a palette. Midway tools here. We've got export. I can export the compressed image data for Midway sprites. We can let's see, export palettes to like the Midway style, I guess, if you want to say that. RGB, 5 bits per 555, 5 bits per pixel there, or a color depth of 5. And then also I can import a Midway palette as well, and that would be the way to go. We would want to import the Midway palette for, you know, Scorpion's head, and then use those color indexes when creating the sprite, and then export it as a bitmap for Midway. That would be the workflow for that. But anyways, moving on. Let's see, what else can we get into, because I feel like fixing those heads are not going to be a thing. We're just going to replace them. And I would be really interested in what, you know, Tobias, if he knew anything about that. My understanding, he's the main art guy, and he would be the guy to know. So if anybody's got him on Twitter or X, any kind of social media, maybe give him a mention, put a screenshot, and ask him what he knows. I'd be interested in finding out more about that. Going back to, I don't know why I'm going back to this, but going back to the graphic addressing, and I've changed it as much as 18 bits, and it didn't make any difference. I changed 1 bit from 44B 3144A to 49. We're just going 1 bit down, and it just made a huge difference in the way it looks now. So it's a mystery. There's 1 bit up, so you see the difference there. It's so what's happening when you change that address is it's pulling the data and how it reads and how to draw it. All the data is for graphics are just numbers for indexes of a palette for each pixel when it draws it from top to bottom, left to right. That's all it does. So you change it like I did with 1 bit, you can see the colors are off quite a bit. And that's because the color index is not right at that point. Two bits up. We're just gonna go up a couple bits here at a time and just see if anything sticks out. It's 3 bits up. It doesn't make any worse. We'll go 1 more, maybe 2 more. That's Hey, what's up, Aceman? It's going good. Yeah, Michael, I seen GIMP 3 was out. I think I had developers, whatever the pre-release was, release candidate 3 maybe. And I know they updated with GTK. Is that the UI? I think they upgraded that. So it did look a little better. I haven't really gotten to the scripting side of it. I'm assuming all the Python stuff is still compatible, so I can easily probably move my scripts over if I wanted to. MK2, is MK2 fully completed? For the most part it is. The next release of MK2 is probably going to be a final. There's going to be some bug fixes. There's not many at all. All right, so as far as this, spine rip sprites, I don't have an answer for why it's messed up. So that answers that question. I don't know if the person that asked that question is in here, but he was on Discord. I can't give you an answer to that, unfortunately. Tinkered with it to try to get it to display correctly. Unfortunately, we can't get it to look right. Unfortunately. See, we can goof around with the object table here. You see I changed it to EO6 and it took the transparency away. And if you put, I know you put a 1 here, it's going to flip it. You see it flip the sprite. The E is going to be the bit. I wonder if it's a lower. Let's see something here. Let's get the calculator out and mess with the pixel depth here. So we got 110. E is the first, and 110 is our bit depth. And what did we say 110 was? That is 6. So if we go to 5, 101, do 101, do 1101. We change that E to a D. It would drop that down to 5 bits per pixel. We can try. And you see what it did? It's terrible. So let's do 7 bits per pixel. I think I know what that's gonna be. Yeah, 111. That's gonna be F. And you see the result of 7 bits per pixel, trying to draw it that way. 100, we can do 1100. Let's see what that value is. Let's see, I'll drop it down to 4 bits. That's definitely doable, 4 bits per pixel. I don't think there's too many colors in there. But it doesn't like that either, so. So we can rule out the pixel depth. That's good. It feels like that, like you got the color of the mask here, like it's. Yep, you're right, Michael. Certain timing, I guess, random select timings, you can get that thing to crash. That particular script was a huge script to write for that new character select screen on MK2 Plus. Crazy, the crazy amount of dedication that took to write that. All right, so back to the heads. Here we have, pixel depth's good. Addressing seems to be, I can't find anything wrong with that. I gotta believe it seemed like it's just gotta be just the data, the actual data. Go back in here real fast. Go back to my definition of the fill pixels. Where are we at here? Raw attributes. Okay. I mean, could they have used compressed pixels in there? And I mean, that's the only other variable in there that could cause some crazy drawing. But I highly doubt it. You know what? That's what we were doing. We were going to look at. We're going to look at the other heads and see. Very interested in this. Let's write down. What is this? This is game address. Crap! I didn't want to do that. Okay, we lost our spot. Let's go back to here and that's fine. Array blood offsets. Oh, there is an array for blood offsets too. Didn't know that. I did. I guess I just forgot because I wrote all that. All right, so let's go to the array of players and their heads. And what was Scorpions? Or let's see, Sub-Zero's 5, Scorpions 4, so those should be the same. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that explains that. Those are going to be the same heads with different palettes, obviously. And look at that, we've got one got some padding there. We can have another pointer in there if we wanted to squeeze Reptile's head in there without changing. The. Actually, it won't change the data too much, anyways, because all of this is already inside of the game data. So if we go in here, let's see, game data. We're gonna have a whole array of fighter stuff. And I'm pretty sure I got all this framed out here. Let's see, fighter arrays. Here we go. So look at all these arrays associated to each fighter. Nicely mapped out here. Funny part is I've probably got these in here. I just didn't have them documented. Convert game address. I forgot my shortcut here. Yeah, look at this. I knew it. It's fine. Okay. And I'm pretty sure there's a new addition I put on this application. Array spine rip heads, and there's our Scorpion Sub-Zero right there. We have already had this stuff in here. It's just, you know, not messing with it for a while. You forget what you have. That's part of the problem of these types of projects if you leave off and come back. So these symbols here are automatically written to my symbols file when I export them from the script. So whenever I write the binary to update the game, it'll go through and any new label that I've added in a script, like for instance, these are labels, anything that ends with a colon and it's in blue, that's going to be a label. And they're just location references. That's all these things are. It's just a game of reference and locations for information. So whenever you write that, you write a new label in the script, it'll export it here to my symbols file when I write the binary. Which, you know what, now that I think about it, why wasn't that showing up in the debugger like you're supposed to? Fight spine heads, A1. Is that the one? Let's see. Rockets and Impel Blood sounds a bit like it could use some tweaking. Megadeth, I'd be interested in knowing more on that opinion of Baraka's Impel Blood sound bits. All right, yeah, let's see. Add. Doing some, let's see, we're going to add this here to our fighter array data so we can keep that. Let's put that in. Let's look at the fighter palettes array. It does FF81 9530. And that is, okay, yeah, that's already in 530. Okay. I've already got that in here. I've got to. Let's see, go to address FF819530. Did I have this labeled wrong? Let's see, we have FFE9. No, that's right, blood offset. So there's those blood offsets that we were talking about earlier I'd like to fix as well. We can tweak those so the blood follows the corpse a little bit better. 819390. Just looking at this array here, this address for it, and I don't have it as a symbol. We're gonna add that. Well, I do. It's just called array palettes primary. I don't know why it's not showing up as a symbol. As a symbol in the debugger, but it is already in there. It's array primary palettes. Okay, so I don't know. Anyways, we'll move on. I digress. One of the problems I have with these projects is I want to. I'm kind of OCD with the data. I always want to keep it together and have it organized. For some reason, it just makes me feel better, and it kind of leads me down a rabbit hole. Spend a lot of time on it. Ultimately, I mean, maybe when these things are done, I'll put this stuff on. I'll put it on GitHub or something. You guys can play with it if you want. Let's see. So, if anybody wants to make a sprite, a ninja head sprite for that fatality, I'll put it in the game because it seems like that's going to be the easier route than trying to figure out why these ones are messed up. So that was nice. We were supposed to just, get my toes a little wet here, getting back into the project, and we hit a dead end there on that one, unfortunately. But there was that one follow-up I want to do. Let's go to. Let's go back to the line rip heads. Let's follow these up. Let's follow these addresses here, and let's see how. Let's compare the graphic locations, the pointers for the graphics for the other characters outside the ninja. So FFD5 0 is I think 0, character ID 0 is Cage, if I'm not mistaken. And here's the first segment. Let's follow the pointer. And look at this. It's an even address. We got 44A FFD0. I'm just gonna make a little note of that. It just feels like it's just a fat finger, like somebody fat fingered it somewhere, you know what I mean? And it's just a simple edit that would fix it. I'm hoping. And Kano, Raiden, King. So we're gonna grab all these and see what they look like. FFD5 E4 FO. And this is for Kano, I believe. So we'll follow address pointer. And here's his segment for his head. And his is actually not an even address. It's OAA4. Let me see that. Let's see, was that 1 for Kano? Go back in here. AO equals 1, and then we're gonna go, we'll hop to that. Is that at EE350? We'll go to that segment there, and I'm curious if we change this to 0 on Kano's head. Okay, it's jacked up. Okay. To 8. Oops, wrong head. Let's try that again. Kano's head, and we'll change this to 8 for a nice round number. It does not work. Okay. FFD5 E790. Let's go back here to Scorpion's head. Address pointer. That was EE448. Let's go back over there. I don't know why I tried this again. This is going to be the same result. Yeah, that's what I thought. Not right. Okay. We'll try one more here for comparison's sake, but it looks like they are doing a bit of dressing on those heads. I didn't think they were doing that, but I guess so. Oh, we got E5DO, FFD5. E5DO, I think this is, who is this, Raiden? All right. That probably concludes that that idea on that. I guess we're gonna move on because that, like I said, was a lot of time trying to figure out what went wrong there, which we ultimately couldn't. It just feels like a data problem with the heads for the ninjas. And it's probably going to be easier just making our own, because who knows? It could be, who knows what's wrong with it. You know, I gave it a shot, but it doesn't seem like it's something that we can fix easily. But I'm still going at it. I don't know. I don't want to leave it alone. I want to somehow fix it, but I'm out of ideas for it. Draw attribute is good. Palette's good. Graphic pointer seems to be okay. All right, so we'll move on. We'll go to the next thing here. Let's find out where we left off with MK2 previously. That's going to be our next thing we're going to try to jump into and continue on. I'll just make a new ninja head. So that's the only one that needs to be done. It's the same head that's used for all the ninjas as well. So it's just a simple palette swap, which is already lined up. You can see we have Reptile in there. Airmac, maybe Airmac's in the game. I don't know. This is more or less like a placeholder. Haven't decided if that's going to be something in the game or not. But if I was going to, I made provisions to have the extra slot there for him. And 2 other empty slots as well. I don't know. Just left room for a few extra characters in case I wanted to add somebody. You know, I didn't have to go through all these arrays and add new pointers. They're already there. They're just pretty much placeholders. Sorry, let's figure out where we left out last time. So we've got, let's go to do. Reptile status bit, Shang's treasures. We were working on that. The 2v2 thing, there's a problem with the 2v2 versus the computer on the tower. The IDs seem to be different than what they're supposed to be. And I think that's something to do with the randomizer. It's real weird how they do the ladder IDs. I mean, they made it so complicated, much more complicated than what it should have been. They didn't have to, you know, it's way overcomplicated. They shouldn't have to. The way they do it, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. It's a mess the way they did it originally. You know, they should just did a random rollout of fight sequence and keep those IDs in RAM and load the portraits on those on the ladder screen, and then use the same RAM data to load your fighter based on the fight index you're at. But there's some weird calculations. It's a mess. You'll see when I get to that part. Well, we gotta clean that up. Give Kano claps on the credit screen. If you ever notice Kano, he doesn't say, I think he doesn't say his yeah or something. Or he doesn't have his claps, like the audience. And I think it's his yeah. See where I'm at with, I might have a. Probably overwrote the save state. I had something. I was working on that for a minute there. I was looking into that, and that wasn't There's the audio priority, and you couldn't get it to clap, or vice versa. It was either clap or the yeah that was missing, one of the two. All right. So, anyways, going back to, let's see where we at. More audits. Add audits. I like audits. I don't know why. I like audits. Just the ability to write data in a CMOS chip and retrieve it. It's always been kind of cool for me. I like doing that. So you can see I've got some. I haven't showed this yet. There were some screenshots of this stuff that I've added in the Discord, but here's some new audits. Let's see, we have a couple new ones here added. Obviously, Reptile, Goro, Shang Tsung. Haven't done any boss work. The plans are to possibly do boss play. That's down the line. That's down the road quite a bit because I want to get the main stuff fixed, the game modes and any bugs and all that stuff, and then maybe. Let's see. Next audit page here we have fatalities, game modes, how many times each game mode was played, and that's it for the new audits. I did some quick little debug presentations here, which don't really work exactly how they do in the game because there's some cleanup involved that still needs done. So I'll give you an idea. It's just kind of the way they drop down in the screen. The presentation isn't right, but I'll display. So anything above his fist is kind of, I don't know why it's like that, but that's just coming from the test mode, which is a real dirty way of testing something, and it doesn't seem to play nicely. So these little additions here were just for quick tests. All right, so let me catch up on chat here, and I think this is probably going to conclude the stream. I didn't want to do too big of a stream, seeing how this is the first one in a long time. Is kind of want to get acclimated to the process and make sure everything worked fine, and look into that ninja head issue. And we'll probably do some future ones as well. Let me catch up here on chat, see if there's anything in there. I appreciate the contribution there, Curb. Much appreciated. Megadeth says there's no blood sounds when Baraka performs Impel Fatality. Let me write that down. Anyways, I probably have a note like this. Look into. Is that right? Or is it look into? I'm going to say it's that. No blood sound on Barakas. I can't spell Baraka. Impel Fatality. Alright, we got that. Use Johnny Cage face for the ninja's face for Sprite. I mean, I think that's a worse scenario. I mean, that's worse because then you got Johnny Cage's head instead of a messed up ninja head. But we can make a ninja head. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Making new sprites. I mean, they used to be a big hurdle back in the days, but nowadays, I mean, I've got scripts for that stuff in GIMP, and you know, it makes it a lot easier. So that's not a big deal. So we can do that. Let's see. Curb, yes, curb. You can definitely get that done for you, curb. We've got. Let's show you guys here what we got cooking here. Added assets. Names, added sprites. Let's see, what do we got here? We do have MK Plus credits. Here's our credits for the MK Plus. All the guys that contributed to MK1 Plus, you know, since I guess I was doing MK1 Plus on the live streams anyways. So if you did, you know, I'll get you in here. Not a big deal at all. As easy as just add your name to the list. That's all, man. Appreciate any contributions. You guys don't have to do that. Not expecting it. So don't feel like you have to. It's not a big deal. So in future episodes, we'll do like this chop suey thing. This thing's not complete. It's gonna crash. It's just a basic game mode where you just face another human player, and whoever chops through the elements the fastest wins. Maybe I can do a different background for whatever you pick too, because right now you have the same background for any kind of chopping element. So the ideal here is just, you know, you finish, you chop your next one, and you just keep going, and you know, whoever gets through them all wins it. I don't know what you're gonna win, but maybe there's something. Not sure. But as you can see now, it's gonna crash because it's killing itself with all the objects that it needs cleaned up. But you get the gist of it anyways. That's what it's going to be. I think it'd be a cool little thing. I mean, I don't know, maybe you guys can settle some kind of score or something with a friend. Just take it to the chopping block and settle whatever dispute you have. And then we have, obviously we have this Shank's treasure thing. I don't know what my goal is here on this. This was something that I was going to use for unlocking some cool stuff. Like the whole premise, let me pause it so you can hear me. The whole premise was you would get these coins based on your survival mode results. And after you play survival mode, and you get these points, these coins, you can come in here and you can spend this this nice having a brain fart. I don't go to the casino, obviously. Wheel, whatever you want to call it. Having a brain fart on that machine. Slot machine. There you go. You just roll a slot machine. And there are certain rewards depending on what the outcome is on what you roll. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be added to this. Maybe some secret fights, maybe unlocked fighters. I mean, you name it. I mean, if you guys have ideas, shoot me some ideas on it. Thanks, Michael, for the slots. I was having such a hard time remembering that, man. When you get older, you start to forget small things. But yeah, that's all it is. It's just a method to unlock some cool stuff. You know, you just hit the button to roll it. You hit your button again to stop it. And you know, maybe you unlock something. I don't know. Like I said, if you got any ideas on what to do with this, just, you know, shoot me a message. Leave it in the MK1 suggestions board channel. And if it's cool, I mean, I'll put the time into it and make it work, make it happen. But as you see here, this is just like a testing thing. That's why the coins is in the negative. But if you got any ideas, just let me know. I could put it in there, and it'd be really cool to unlock some good stuff. But that's that. And I think that's probably gonna wrap it up. I got nothing else to say. Pretty much covered where we're at and where we want to go. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Maybe it's Friday. Well, maybe we'll do like a Sunday deal. You know, I'll line something up Sunday and we'll do a stream Sunday. And maybe work on completing the chop mode. You know, what do you think? Should we do like the chop mode, or should we? I know you guys really aren't interested in doing bug fixes, because I mean, I got a lot of bugs to fix, that's for sure. But I'm sure you guys don't want to see that on stream. So maybe we'll do so. I'll try to find something real interesting to do, because these things are pretty boring to begin with. Not a lot of people are tuned in, because I mean, it's kind of nerdy, and you know, it is what it is. But some people out there like it. So if you like it, that's cool. If you have any ideas for, you know, Shang's treasures, drop those in the Discord. Other than that, man, I appreciate you guys coming by and checking it out. It's been a while, and I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you guys Sunday. All right. Take care.